This is absolutely insane. Folks, we've seen dominant NBA duos before, but this is setting up to be something like we have never, ever seen. What's going on, everybody? I'm Houston Bo. You're watching Warriors Digest. Thank you so much for the support over the recent videos. Folks, we are just 11 days away from NBA basketball tipping off. It's absolutely insane. I'm more hyped than I've maybe ever been. And then now today we get some news about Giannis and Antetokounmpo. We've already talked about the opportunity for the Warriors books to be clean in 2027 to potentially add a Giannis, add a Jokic. We know that Steph Curry and Giannis have a relationship. Giannis a couple of years ago saying Steph Curry is the best player in the world. So before we get into all that, the potential for that to be a legitimate reality, even though I know it seems like all the perfect stars would have to align and it'd have to be a miracle to see Giannis end up in the Bay Area. Before we break down all of that, if you've ever wanted to break into the sports media world as a writer, as a content creator, Digest Media has openings across all the 4 major sports. Go down to the link in the description to join the team today, digestmedia.ca/join us to apply to be just like me, making YouTube videos on your favorite team. I've only been here for about 2 months, and it's been an absolute blast making content for you guys, reporting all the news and headlines on Warriors media. And like I said, we're so close to the beginning of the NBA season, but so many seasons are starting to close up. Always looking for new hires across all the major sports. So go down to the link below. We're excited to see what you guys have got. So Steph and Giannis, is that actually a possibility? Well, let's kind of break down exactly the news that we've seen over the last couple of days surrounding what is turning into sort of the fans and the Bucks organization, not the organization as much, but more so the fan base turning against Giannis based on some of the things he said over the last couple of days. So first things first, there's all these reports about Giannis and a New York Knicks team up, right? That's been a major topic of late. And then Giannis came out and said this when there were questions of whether or not he was committed to the team. Does that sound familiar? Jonathan Kuminga, I'm looking at you. He said, "I believe in my team and my teammates. Now, if in 6 or 7 months, promise that's not a 6-7 joke, if I change my mind, I think that's human too." And there's 2 sides to this story because, yes, I agree with Giannis. You should want to go where you can win a championship. You should want to, at this point in your career, you've only got the 1 ring. You haven't really had that many playoff runs when you compare it to what some of the other guys at your age have done. Your organization has brought in and lost star players like that. Chris Middleton no longer here. Damian Lillard, that experiment did not work at all. And now it's you and Kyle Kuzma. Like, what are we doing here? For Giannis, I totally understand. You want to be the Tim Duncan, the Dirk Nowitzki, the Steph Curry archetype. You want to be with the organization that drafted you. You want to be loyal. We just saw with Damian Lillard, hey, the grass isn't always greener on the other side. He's been a Portland guy his entire career. Goes to Milwaukee, absolutely failure, and ships his butt right back to Portland. So I get that the grass isn't always greener on the other side. I get that going somewhere else to have a championship run isn't always going to be the best decision. But we know what Giannis thinks of Steph Curry. We know what he thinks of the Warriors organization, right? After that 2022 championship, he came out and spoke about, hey, it's whoever's on the mountaintop, right? Whoever just lead their team to a championship is the best player in the league. That's why he thought he was the best player in the league after their championship. Around that same time, and now the Bucks have really struggled to put that same camaraderie and that team chemistry and that run together like they did a few years ago. And so all of a sudden you start to put yourself in this position of, man, Giannis to the Warriors. Is this a possibility? How would this work with the books? Well, it's definitely a possibility as far as Giannis's next team's probability, right? New York Knicks are 100% the highest chance of happening, right? New York is just such a destination, as is the Bay Area. And Giannis has spoke out a little bit about how his dream scenario would be landing in New York. So if you happen to be a Knicks fan watching this video, congratulations, you're in the Giannis sweepstakes as well. Spurs, Heat, Raptors sort of close out that list, but the Warriors are at plus 150, and whether or not you're a sports gambler or you're, a betting fan, whatever, all that, these metrics do mean something, right? It does ultimately determine a lot of the times where somebody's going to end up, right? There's a reason that people always say, oh, Vegas called, right? Vegas made the decision during the game to have something happen, right? Because it truly is incredible the way that they understand the sports world at times, okay? And sure, there are going to be some times where it's completely off base, and there are going to be other times where it's completely shocking. No one expected Kevin Durant to come to the Warriors during that season, and then all of a sudden, boom, he leaves the organization that drafted him. Well, technically not if you count the Supersonics, although they're technically the same team as the Thunder. Anyway, that's besides the point. right? He ends up coming to the Warriors. So things like this that can be shocking and something that you can be like, no way you'd actually do that. Sometimes those dreams that you can have really do come true. And I think it's a legitimate possibility. Giannis, at this point in his career, wants to win a championship. Being in Milwaukee is not the place to do that at this point, right? The Knicks have a fantastic organization. They have a fantastic roster. And at this point, you're thinking to yourself, man, Giannis could have that potential to go there, team up with Jalen Brunson. You don't know what that looks like alongside Cat and all those types of things. But the situation that, in my opinion, makes way more sense is Giannis to the Warriors. And, of course, money, trades, free agency, all that stuff has to line up, and we'll break that down in a future video once this becomes a little bit closer to it actually happening. All those things have to align. They have to make sense for both organizations for that to actually come to fruition. But there is a legitimate chance based on the relationship that Giannis and Steph Curry have. Giannis is a huge fan of Curry. There was a legitimate chance that Giannis says, you know what? I think the best possibility for me to win a championship is to go to Golden State, to team up with Giannis, maybe Jimmy Butler, and find a way to win a championship. And I honestly, as a fan of Giannis, as a fan of the way he conducts himself, he's a straightforward guy. One of my favorite all-time NBA quotes is him talking to a reporter when they said, hey, is this season a failure, right? Can you chalk this down? You didn't win the championship. Is it a failure? And Giannis says, do you get a promotion every year? Do you... if not, do you consider that a failure? Do you win at everything every single day? No, there's steps toward success. There's steps toward progress. Every year is a success unless you're the last team in the league and there's a million injuries and everything is a failure. There are still steps to success, and I love the way that Giannis operates. There was that whole thing a couple seasons ago with him on the ladder, like he's moving the ladder because he wants to do free. Like, that's pretty much the only drama Giannis has ever found him in. Very similar to a Steph guy. He's been loyal to the organization, right? I totally get all that. But I do think that there's a major possibility that Giannis could come to the Warriors once the books clear up a little bit. Obviously, Kuminga signing makes the money a little bit more difficult. So that trade would have to happen, right? The contracts would have to line up. You'd have to figure out exactly how it makes sense front office-wise. But man, I'm just thinking about this from the perspective of, holy cow, how much fun would this be to watch? The yin and yang of the dominant, powerful, fast break force of Giannis and the outside shooting of Steph would be, a dream. And this is exactly what you see from Stephen A. Smith, regardless of what your opinions on Stephen A. and mainstream ESPN media are. He says, you want to talk about unfairness? Don't let Giannis get to Golden State. If that happens, it wouldn't be fair to the basketball world. The Warriors would coast to the NBA title, and I have to agree. I mean, especially if they find a way to make it happen this year, it's wraps. You might as well sign it up right now and give the Warriors the title. And then, we talked about this earlier in the video, but Milwaukee star Giannis Antetokounmpo talking about the NBA best player debate is super simple. He said, I think the best player in the world is the person that is the last man standing. It's the person that takes his team to the finals, the finish line, and helps them win the game. That's how I view it. I believe the best player in the world is Steph Curry. So, I know we make these videos, and you get a little bit in your head of like, man, what are we doing here? There's no way Giannis is coming to the Bay Area. If anything, he's staying in Milwaukee or he's leaving to go to New York. And again, I tell you, this is not your mom and dad's NBA anymore. This is not the, hey, I'm going to do everything I can to stay with this team. That, cap space isn't lining up, so it's immediate. Like, there are ways to make literally everything in the NBA happen. There was nothing that is out of the realm of possibility because of the way that the new basketball operations happen within the league. And I truly believe that if Giannis decides, hey, where do I think is the best opportunity for me to win a championship now? Where's the best opportunity in the next couple of years to use the end of my prime to find a way to win a couple of rings? Golden State is the best place. It's the best run organization. It's the best front office. Steve Kerr is a player's coach. He lets players be the best versions of themselves. He would work very well with Giannis. Steph and Jimmy could fit perfectly around him. I think this would be a heck of a lot of fun, a real possibility, and man, I'd be stoked if I see that report from Shams saying, hey, Giannis is a Warrior. What are your guys' thoughts? Is this something that you would be excited to see? Do you want it to happen? Do you want Giannis to stay in Milwaukee? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. I've been Houston Bo. You guys have been the fans. Thank you so much for tuning in, for all the support. Make sure to hit that subscribe button to continue to never miss out on a video as the season quickly approaches. Thanks so much for tuning in, guys, and as always, go Dubs. Peace.